To all our viewers, our listeners, welcome back to Metanoia Chat Room.
All right, well, today we're actually with a special guest. Like what I've said earlier, we actually had a first take. This is our second take. But we're here with Venna. Woo! The D.
The D.
The
I.
D. Sorry, One Piece reference. Anyways, last time she was here, she's not new. She's really not that special, actually.
Hey.
But we are glad that you are here with us to be having conversations. Do you want to say anything to
My
our
pleasure.
Huh?
My pleasure. It's
Oh,
always
her
nice
pleasure.
to be
So
here.
next month again, it's her pleasure.
We'll
Yeah.
see about
Her-
that.
her
You and
pleasure.
Andrew.
Yeah, and as you can see, we also have Mijay, returning guest.
I guess.
Mention that.
But he's not really a guest. I mean, I feel like he's gonna replace
no,
me
no,
soon.
no,
You know,
no,
as
relax.
I go in my maternity leave.
Whoa.
So, you never know. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we have
It's a
Mijay
girl.
over here. So yeah, thank you guys for being here today.
Speaking of maternity leave, as well, I guess our viewers are already seeing or have seen in the stories, we would just like to announce that it's a girl.
Boy.
She's having a baby
It's like
girl.
I was not excited for that. No,
I
I'm
know.
really excited. It was fun. Just had my gender reveal, so yay to that. It was really fun. But anyways,
Awesome. Well, today, I don't know. I'm personally feeling nervous
why?
for today's topic. Are you guys? I don't know.
Why are you guys nervous? I never attend a meeting.
I guess
these
that's why she's not
things.
nervous.
So like, I'm just here, just happy to be here. But why are you guys nervous? What are we talking about?
It's actually ironic that we're nervous because nervousness is a feeling of like being restricted to be free. And that's kind of
Ooh.
our topic today. It's just about freedom and what does that mean? What is your experiences with freedom? How does the world look at freedom, which is, a little bit touchy later on. And then we'll talk more deeply about how does Jesus see freedom like that. But to start us off, kind of just share your experiences. Share a story when you felt restricted by something, really restricted.
I feel like that one's easy. Like well, for at least for me, like feeling restricted, right?
Yeah.
Like being like with your parents, sometimes like you're going through, I don't know, a phase where you just want to do everything. You're a curious, mouse, so you want to do everything in life, right? And there's some restrictions that they put upon you, like curfews, right? Or I don't know, things you're not supposed to watch or whatever. You're not supposed to date. All these rules that just restrict you from wanting to do something, right? But as a young person, you're kind of like naive. You don't know the world yet. They did like 10 laps of it already, right? And you're just, getting there. And
Yeah.
so I feel like the restrictions that they've given upon me, being now that I'm going to be a mom, right? Like being older, kind of more wiser, hopefully. You just realize that restrictions are not really restrictions. They're more of like guidance in a way. But those are the times where I did feel restricted. Like I wanted to stay out late in, wherever I was with my friends.
Where were you?
I was in the plaza, ironically, because Subway's my craving. I would just, we would just chill in Subway because they closed really late back then. I don't know if they do now. So me and my friends would just chill there and, we chill with like, random people like now and then. So, yeah. So those things, like I didn't understand why, my parents are so bad because they don't want me to hang out with my friends.
Yeah.
But like it was like freaking midnight, so duh, and I was like 16, so obviously I would see that as a restriction
Yeah.
because I just cared about my selfish, desires. But
Yeah.
I
How
guess
about
that's when
our
I
guest?
felt restricted.
Yeah. Our guest at the Venna, is there a time or anything that makes you feel restricted?
For me, it's more on a perceived restriction. So it's a restriction I put to myself.
Ah.
Because sometimes I get too affected by what people tell me. And based on their judgment, sometimes I put that upon myself, not to be the person they don't want me to be. So it limits the growth that you have. So yeah, for me, it's more on a perceived restriction I put upon myself. People expect you to do things or not to do things, and sometimes you hear people talk. That's something that they do, something that they are entitled to do because they have lips, they have tongue,
Wow.
they can speak.
They have a mouth.
So, yeah. But I just became too strict with myself that it restricted me from growing because I keep thinking about what other people would think. So it just lets me stay on one side of the bubble. So instead of growing my bubble, I would just stay inside. And that also means that I'm restricting myself from a lot of things I could have done because my skills wouldn't grow because I'm restricted to what I just know, restricted to my safe zone. And growing now that I'm older, forgot what I said. Now that I'm older, it frustrates me because there's a lot I could have done, but I've restricted myself.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you wanted to do more, like self-growth, I guess, but like because of the restrictions or false restrictions that you put on yourself, you kind of like impeded your growth. And now that like you're old enough to realize, you're like that was dumb, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I understand that. That's actually a cool way of talking about restrictions, you know, because usually when we talk about restrictions, it's usually someone restricting us, but like it's never about like us.
Ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So you feel a lot of regret now?
Yeah.
With the way that you did that?
But there's still a lot of time.
Yeah,
There is, yeah.
in the world,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, now you know you're much wiser, is what we're saying, right?
Yes.
So what about you, Mijay?
Me.
Oh,
Me, yeah.
Actually,
Actually, me.
I'm
Uh, for me, it's I'll just say school. Well, like in high school, I felt that's not like a bad thing. Well, yeah, but mostly everything was mandatory there, especially like attendance and all that stuff. There's like and in university,
Even now.
your schedule is more like it's more free, I guess, compared to high school where it's like the same schedule every day. Where in university you have the choice basically, and like not like they're mandatory, but they're not as mandatory as it would be in high school. Where like, but then, well, yeah, that's basically it. Just high school like being mandatory with all the attendance and stuff, and now that I'm in university, I realized that. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, so school-wise, you felt restricted. I guess a lot of people can relate to that, like students.
Yeah. School is a jail. I'm kidding, it's not a jail.
A
cell.
jail?
No,
Oh,
no, no,
damn.
no.
Okay.
No.
What about you?
Actually, I don't want to say it, but it's hard for me to think of a time that I felt restricted. Because that word is so, I don't know, it feels so suffocating for me. Like when I think about your examples for your parents, I don't think my parents, well, at least in my conscious when I was more of a teenager, they weren't really too strict. Like I'm the type of person who doesn't ask for permission. I just say. So like if I want to go somewhere, I'm like, hey, I'm going to the park, and they're like, okay. And then when it comes to school, same thing. Like I guess because I always just followed the rules to the point that I didn't want to go off of the rules, so I didn't feel restricted to not follow it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't really have an example. It's more about I'm the one that followed everything too concisely to not ever feel restricted. I guess it's like,
So
yeah.
it's weird. So you kind of had like freedom within your restriction.
Yeah. It didn't feel restricted at all. Like
Right.
I felt like I could not really do everything I want. It's just I think I knew what I had to do and I just did that. And there was nothing that I wanted to do outside of that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I don't know if that comes with the idea that I grew up being taught that you do what you are told to do.
Right.
And so I just did what I was told to do. So there was never a sense of rebellion in me to do otherwise. But then again, now that I'm thinking about it, was that really a sense of you were, like you weren't restricted? Or was it a sense of you were restricted to know what you want yourself and you just listen to everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, well, you did say that you never felt restricted, so, but like, in the same sense, like, you could have been like, okay, I know the rules, I know whatever I'm not supposed to do, so
Yeah.
I'll just play by the book, and this is the freedom that I have, so, alright, this is what I gotta,
Yeah.
deal with, or enjoy this freedom.
Yeah.
Why else should I, enjoy freedom that I can't have, I
That
guess,
makes sense. Yeah.
outside of the restriction?
But my example is really bad. So we'll go with you guys' based off the restrictions that you felt, when was the time that you felt free from that restriction? Or if, let us know if you still haven't, if you're still experiencing that today.
Definitely for me when
Marriage? Is that
no,
it?
you could say marriage, also that, but like I felt like when I was responsible enough, cause like I gained much more trust from my parents. Like I feel like they understood that okay, I'm a woman now. I can make decisions for myself, and they trusted the fact that I could make good choices, right? So like because of that, they knew when to kind of like let go of the leash, kind of metaphorically. So like, cause you know like your boundaries, you know where you're not supposed to go, you know what you're not supposed to do, and so within that time, as growing up, that I feel like the restrictions. I don't know what that was.
Someone.
That was the neighbor. But like when by the time where I felt like the restrictions are off, it's only because I got older, because I got more responsible. You know what I mean?
So age and
Yeah.
maturity.
Maturity. There you go,
Okay,
maturity.
got it.
Because I feel like some people, even though they age, they never mature. Maturity doesn't go along with their age, but yeah, those times, yeah.
The Venna?
Just stop listening to what other people say.
Right.
That's when I gained freedom from my restriction. And just let yourself grow.
Right.
Because you want be where God wants you to be when you go against what God has planned for you.
Was that recently or like quite a while?
Quite well.
That's good.
All I
Well, for you, since it's
Your
about
turn.
school,
I mean, yeah, it's obvious.
when you went to
I-
university,
That when I went to university, because I already said that's when I realized like,
yeah.
I was more restricted in high school compared to like when I actually attended university. But like I was free from the restriction, but it wasn't like a good thing because like along with that being free from all that restriction of like attendance and all the
Ooh.
mandatory things,
Yeah.
Right.
that's when I realized like
You have so much.
you
have
need
so
like
much like
what was that? You need
Discipline.
Discipline. There you go.
You
That's
need
a word.
discipline to
Yeah.
actually, feel motivated to go there.
Yep.
And
Because no one's
That's
asking
funny,
you to
yeah.
do it.
yeah,
You have
that's
to do
what.
it yourself.
Yeah, that's why I realized in the first place that I was at like the mandatory things in high school were like actually
Important.
were important because like
So with freedom came discipline. Like the more freedom that you have, the more discipline
You
you're meant
need.
to have.
yeah, because like bro,
It's
it was so much harder to actually push myself to
Yeah, because no one else
go
is
fast.
no one else is trying to restrict you. You
Yeah.
yourself have to make that
Yeah.
decision for yourself.
Yeah.
and they're not gonna chase after you too. Like,
Yeah.
in high school, they do that. They're like, you didn't hand in this assignment. I'll give you till next week. But in university, if you
Yeah.
don't hand it in, they don't care. It's
Yeah.
I know it's like that's your own choice. Like
Yeah.
you're
So I guess to our high school people, if you're feeling restricted now, if that's also your restriction, it's good for you. Once you get to
Yeah.
university,
You get it. Like you'll just
Yeah.
get it. Once you experience, you'll get why all those things are mandatory.
Yes.
Like why you're
You'll want them to be mandatory.
Oh yeah, because no
Yeah,
one else
that's
is
true.
doing it for you. So with great freedom comes
great
Great-
responsibility.
no great discipline. Like you need greater discipline.
Superwoman. Wait,
I
is
know.
that?
Where did I get that?
Did you
Spider-Man.
Sorry.
Yeah, reference.
Sorry. I said Superwoman.
You're bad. Definitely not a Marvel fan over here.
Anyways, so we have
Anyways.
Superman's story. We have all of your
Yeah.
stories.
This kind of reminded me of for my experience, it just reminded me of the parable of the lost sheep, because it's like, the main message there is that God will leave the 99 to find that one lost sheep.
Yeah.
But if we backtrack to that, if we backtrack a little bit, in that scenario, there's one sheep that's outside the fence, and the rest are inside the fence, or
The pen.
Yeah, the pen. And in that, if you look at that scene,
Yeah.
from just that, where there's one sheep outside the fence and the rest are fenced up with restrictions and all that, who which one of those sheep has the freedom,
I know.
from that?
I mean, it really all depends on your world view, what world view you take. Because I feel like if it's a regular outside person who doesn't know Christ, they would say obviously the one that's out there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
who's just free to do anything, free to go anywhere, do whatever they want, right? And the people that are not the people, but the sheep within the pen are the restricted ones, because clearly there's a pen restricting them, right?
Yeah.
But this is actually my favorite topic out of the whole any other topics that we ever did
So far.
so far in our podcast, because for us we understand that the sheeps that are within the pen are actually the ones with much freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not because I don't know, not because of the pen, but because who we're with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I guess what we're trying to say in that story of the parable, there are people who are fenced. Not people. There are sheep who are fenced, and then there's one just wandering around.
Yeah.
What freedom truly means, is it being fenced, or is it wandering around? And isn't it crazy how, like you said, the world may see it differently, but the parable is literally called the parable of the lost sheep, not the free sheep. So in your perspective at the Venna, what do you think? Who is more free? The ones who are in the fence, or the one just wandering around?
The ships that are in the fence. So sometimes people often forget that every action has a consequence, no matter what those are.
Yeah.
So for the sheep that get out of the fence, it might think that it's free because the sheep can do whatever it wants now without someone who guides them. But the sheep doesn't know that leaving the fence means there's a possibility that it may encounter wolves or other things. And what's the consequence of that perceived freedom that the sheep thinks it had is that death, because there's wolves outside or anything else actually. And when you're within the fence, actually you're taken care of. The shepherd that will guide you will put you in a greener pasture.
Yeah.
But once you start wandering, you don't know where those green pastures are.
Yeah.
So
Because I don't know, I feel like for most of us, we may be more focused on the pen, the fence itself that's
Yeah.
restricting you, that you think that you're restricted, but really you're not. Because like what I said before, it's not really about the fence, really. It's who you're with.
Yes.
Right? The person that you're with, and obviously the shepherd is Christ, right? In that metaphor or image or whatever. And because if you think about it, a sheep, the sheeps, they're the dumbest animal.
Oh, that's
Right?
true.
So like, and we're likened to a sheep. Like us people, we're likened to a sheep because we're just, you know,
No, no.
dumb.
We don't know what we're
Not me.
doing.
I'm pretty intelligent. I don't know about you, Jay, but no,
Ah.
I'm just joking. No, but like if you think about it, like what Venna said, there's wolves that are just ready to prowl on
Yeah.
that lost sheep, right? It thinks it's free when it's not, right? Because there's no one guiding that sheep. There's no one tending that sheep. There's no one taking care of that sheep, right? And for us, like when we do get our own freedom, we're on our own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you think about the sheep, they grow hair, right? Or what do you call it? Fur? Wool.
Wool.
I was like, it's not
Hair.
not hair.
They grow wool. And like, you know, what if they because I remember this preaching from Mark, I think, but like when they grow wool, like no one's like shearing it, right?
true.
They're gonna be.
So when they encounter maybe like a friggin' river or something, I don't know, when they get in that river, it weighs them
Yeah.
down. So like there's those encounters in life where if you're on your own, you can't make it. Like
Yes.
that shit will be dying, be drowning, like it's gone, right? And so there's things where like we just know that we need someone. We need Christ,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? And that's really where our freedom lies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's so opposite though with the society we live in now.
Yeah.
It's the opposite perspective. We think that freedom is being out of the fence. If you're not within those rules, if you're not within those restrictions, if you're not within those, let me just say it, traditions.
yeah.
You know, like being conservative. Here we go.
You know, being conservative was always been a thing, especially let's say, I don't know, at church or just being in public, the conservativeness of people, that's starting to come off of people's beliefs because they're like, it's my life.
You know, my freedom. I should be out of those restrictions because it's my life.
Yeah.
I'm breathing my own air. I'm making my own money. I make my own rules. That's the way that the world sees it now. Hence why we see so much conflict. I guess you guys see it on the news, on social media, because it's about those clashing views that I can do whatever I want, and then there's the other views of that's wrong.
Yeah.
And this is this and this and this is how it should be. But then it's like my life, you know, my choice, you know, those things. And I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm not here to pick a side. I'm just saying that there is this constant clash between the two views of what freedom really looks like out there in the world. And right now, according to the parable of the sheep, we as a society is looking at it as we are free when we are not restricted by anything.
But like the thing with that, I guess we can call it restriction or whatever. But like the reason why there's those, you know, restrictions or whatever, that I guess how the world perceives it as
Yeah.
restriction for them, right? If you think about it, without you know, that restriction, at the end, ultimately, the sheep is gonna lead itself to death.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, like the end line is just death, and you can take that view in like our Christian worldview.
Yeah.
Like when you live your life for yourself and you perceive like freedom as living your best life out there or whatever with no restriction or whatever, if you think about it, like it just leads to death. Like, you know, not to be
Yeah.
like dark here, but like that's the reality of it, right?
Yeah.
Living in sin, that leads to death.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know, I guess I wanted to kind of make our way to like talking about what we're enslaved to, like being
Yeah.
enslaved to sin, because that's how the Bible perceives it, because the Bible says that we have freedom in Christ. We have been set free. But like, what are we really set free from?
Yeah.
It's sin, right? And that sin is what causes death, right? And so yeah, that's why we needed to be like freed from that enslavement, that lifestyle of sin or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know, what can you guys add on to that?
Me, Jay? Back
I
to
mean,
you.
I have another sort of comparison where it's like Because restriction really is not. It's a good thing. You need restrictions, and
Yep.
it reminded me of like a potter and a pot. Like to shape something, it needs like you can't if it's not
It needs a
resisting
pot.
Yeah.
What do you call them?
the clay.
No, I mean like the people that shapes
Oh,
the thing.
potter.
Oh,
Powder?
there. Like making
Like
things.
Ah.
shapes the thing.
Okay.
Like if the clay is not resisting, you're not shaping it into the thing
Yeah,
that you want.
exactly.
Yeah.
And like your shape, like you're changing the shape if it's resisting itself, and like that's why I don't know why people want to be free from restriction so badly when it's like
Good for
That's-
them.
yeah, like it's a guidance.
Yeah.
Guidance itself is restrictions, because if you're not being restricted to anything, that means like you're not going out of your way to change,
Yeah.
usually for the better.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's true.
What do you think about that at Tavenna?
I'm thinking of a more practical aspect, just for an example.
Yeah.
So drunk driving, we're restricted from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for obvious reasons, it causes a lot of accidents. So
Yep.
when we're free, when people are free to drink however they want, then drive after, then that's gonna cause a lot of trouble, not just for yourself,
Yeah.
but also for the people around you. So that's why we are restricted from that, to keep us safe.
Yeah.
So that's what rules and regulations are for.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I just want to speak also to, I guess, because this is Metanoia, our young people, it's in our age when those two things are pulling at each other, because we are at that age where we want to be free. We want so many things to do. But we're also at that age when we are most restricted by like our parents, by, I don't know, the law, and basically by our age. But what we are trying to say here is restrictions are there for a purpose, and they are there for a reason. And that idea of, doing everything you want, it does cause harm. It's not purposeful. And it does say that in, I'll take it from, where's my Bible? From 1 Corinthians. I think you guys know this one. Like 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23, when it says like, I have the right to do anything. This is what we say. However, not everything is beneficial. So you can do whatever you want. That's true. There is free will. There is freedom. Go do whatever you want. But this is what you should know. Not everything is beneficial. And I tried to look it up. I'm like, what really is beneficial? Google just says something beneficial means it results in good.
Yeah.
So you can do everything you want, but not everything that you do will result in good.
True.
Yeah. And the other one is, it's also, you can do everything you want, but not everything is constructive. And what constructive is it serves a purpose. So everything you do, you can do whatever you want, but does it really serve a purpose?
Yep.
So the freedom that you have right now, think of it this way. Is it beneficial? Does it have a purpose? Is it doing something good for, like you said, for the other people? Like when you drunk drive, is it really doing good for other people, not just yourself? Because I feel like people do that as a sense of rebellion sometimes. I don't know, like they have their own mission, but think about other people too. Let's see, ministry. You can do whatever you want. You can say no to your ministries. You can be you can do school instead. You can prioritize those things instead. But what purpose are those works really like producing out of you? You know what I'm saying? So, to our young people, just look at your sense of freedom, look at your sense of restriction. What are those two things producing, and which one are you really going to go for?
Much more beneficial.
I would go for beneficial. I would
I
go
mean,
for
who would not?
constructive. I would go for something that is purposeful in my life.
Yeah.
Would you go would you do purposeful, beneficial?
I'm not really a lawbreaker, so.
She's not a lawbreaker, but she told me the other day her limit for driving. I won't say it, but I'm telling you, it broke the law.
You
Why
drive now?
Why are you trying to
Yeah.
expose her, bro?
You have your G2?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
congratulations!
I
Yeah.
was
my
nervous.
gosh.
I couldn't really move my feet that much. So
So she broke the law by
Imagine.
accident. Yeah.
but not purposely,
Yeah. Has there been times you guys did that too? Like basically didn't follow restrictions by accident. Sorry.
What do you mean? The pandemic. People still gathered.
That's
Sure.
true.
That's which is I understand, but like
Yeah. But like that, like they're really there for you. They're there to keep you safe.
yeah.
I think they're gonna start doing that again too, with like the whole mask mandate, because cases are going up. If the government tells us to do so, let's try our best to do so.
Oh,
Okay.
let's get rid of this COVID. Nice.
Push it out of the door. Yeah. Anything to add? Anybody? Final
Yeah,
thoughts?
before we go to our meet to know you.
Maybe just go straight.
She's like, I'm so done. I don't know. Yeah, all good. Honestly, though, if you guys have any thoughts about freedom, just let us know. I think this is one of the things that our podcast is meant to do for you guys, but I don't know if you know that it's open. Like, let us know what you thought about like the topic, our conversations. Add on to it. Let us know. Let's have the same conversation. It's not restricted to just the four of us here. It's also
Right.
open to you guys. Yeah, and speaking about you guys, we're gonna go to our portion that you already know by this time. If you are an active viewer of ours, we are gonna go to our Metanoia to talk about one of our Metanoia. See you later.
That's what it is. Bye.
Meet to know you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Meet to Know You, where we get to know you. Woohoo. I'm Nadine.
I'm Divine. We are finally complete, Nadine. We have missed you from the previous week or so.
You too.
Or month, pala, month. Anyways, we are back with another segment, I guess, and we have another friend with us here today. So get a drum roll. Beep, 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 beep. We have our friend
Joe.
Hello.
Yes, how are you today, Job?
I am great.
Great.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for
Thanks for
being here.
coming.
So we are actually going to start off with a game that we played before called Name 3. So we're just going to give you a little topic, and you just got to name three things from that topic as fast as you can. Are you ready,
Okay.
sir?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yes. All right,
Alright.
Nadine, go ahead.
So, for the first one, name 3 things you can do with a potato.
You can grow it. You can you can cook it, make it into fries or
Alright,
something.
yes.
Like I don't know. Like, and you could make mashed potatoes.
So mashed
Yes.
potatoes, fries,
Mm.
and grow it.
All right.
Yes.
Good job. Good job. Okay. For the next one, name 3 words that begin with the letter F.
F. Fire.
Fire.
Far.
Far.
Fall.
Full.
Great.
Nice. I thought you were gonna say 4. All right. And for the last one, name 3 letters. Sorry, not 3 letters. Sorry, 3 words that begin with the letter T.
T. Trust.
Oh.
Truth.
Wow.
Wow. Trudeau.
Sorry, that's
Think.
Wow. Very deep.
that got
I
very
love
deep
those,
really
yeah.
fast.
Those-
From
those were
potato
good.
to think. That's great.
Mm.
That was good.
Is that it? Huh? All right. So that is our game.
It's okay, we'll cut that
All
out.
right. So now that we have played that game, we are actually going to get to know Job a little bit more. So tell us about yourself.
Hi, my name is Job Samuel Vire.
Oh.
Um,
How old are you?
I'm 19.
19. When is
Yes.
your date of birth?
My
Where do you
birthday.
live?
My birthday is November the 1st.
Oh.
Hey, happy belated
Happy
birthday.
Thank you.
Birthday to
That's it.
you.
Okay.
All right. And are you studying?
Yes.
Yes. Where?
I
in
am
high
currently
school? No.
studying
In uni.
in Tyndale University
Oh.
for social service work.
I didn't even know
That's
that.
cool.
That's sick. We have another Tyndale student here. How are you liking it so far?
I think I really like it. I really like it compared to
The other schools,
other schools
which
that I
we
went
will
to.
not name.
Yes.
That's fine. So are you in any ministries at all at church? What do you do around here?
So currently I'm serving in the kids ministry,
Mm.
and now I'm being called to lead several, or
Several.
just one connect group.
Oh,
Nice.
good for you.
Yes.
Any other ministries that you'd like to join or interested in?
I'd be interested in joining the worship ministry.
Oh,
that's
Uh,
cool.
Like singing or like playing an instrument?
Playing an instrument.
Oh, what instrument are you looking?
So I've been trying a bit to study the bass because I just got
Ooh.
a bass guitar.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we are looking for bassist. Well, you could speak
Yeah.
to that guy over there.
Yes, the one behind the
For
camera.
So that's great. That's very interesting. And if any of you are interested in joining a ministry, you can talk to Joe. Just kidding. You can talk to KJ and
Yes.
other people here. Yeah. Any other things you'd like to share to our friends, to our audience? Yeah. Okay. So you want to plug in your socials? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram,
Oh, snap.
Job, Job, like in the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
dot Virey on
You're not
Instagram.
gonna spell Virey.
Virrey. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Job. Again, any last questions? I don't know.
Oh, actually, yeah. I was gonna ask, like, because I know you joined the church this year. So how has that been so far?
I think it's been really great, like finding a community that I can really connect with. I could really bond with. I've made many friends coming here. And I think the youth is amazing. I really enjoyed the, what's it called, Metanoia camp.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, we
really
look forward to having it
life
again.
changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully we'll have another one next year.
Yes.
So you said you met many friends here in church. Name 3 friends.
Name 3 friends.
One more. Name 3 friends.
Oh my god.
Top 3. That's what-
Name
Well,
3 of your best friends. You don't have to answer that.
I don't.
I mean,
Okay.
if you want to, give a shout out to 3 friends.
Shout out Sam Kim.
Oh snap,
Aw.
Sam Kim.
Sam Kim. Sean.
Mm-hmm.
I like Sean.
Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like him too.
I like Edre too.
Edre.
Aw,
Edre is
that's
okay
sweet.
sometimes. Yeah, he's okay. All right. Anyways, thank you again, Job, for being here today.
Thank you.
And we will go back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Job. Damn.
Job.
Job likes Edre. What
Yeah,
does the
I
sibling
mean-
say?
Are you sure about that?
I'm kind of mildly offended because you never mentioned any of us.
No,
in
yeah,
this,
no. I
um,
didn't
know,
hear
right?
it.
podcast.
Come on,
Joking. I mean, we did the first part. We were here the whole time. And you didn't even bother mentioning Ritches.
It's all right. It's all right.
Who's that?
We like you too. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're good. We kind of already touched upon it with Rich as kind of touching upon, the Jesus view on it, or like the sense of freedom, because we've been talking about the idea of freedom outside of the playpen, how incorrect that is, or like how different that is from inside the pen. But now let's just focus on what freedom actually means within, because we've been saying that like freedom actually means like you're in the cage, but what does that mean in our faith, in sense of like salvation, like you were talking about, in sense of Jesus dying on the cross and our sins? What is freedom?
Want me to go
What
first?
is
Okay.
freedom?
We actually had the same verse in mind. Like you say, I'm allowed to do anything, but that doesn't mean everything is good for you. And it's like, what freedom really means inside the fence, where you already realize that not everything is beneficial for you. I just thought about the Pastor Mark's preaching, where being in the presence of the Lord, and like freedom, at least what I think it is just like the fact that we get to approach God without any hindrances, and that's not without. That doesn't mean without restrictions, just without hindrances. Like
Yeah.
they're 2 different things. Like, just to clarify, like restrictions just lets you know where you should or should not be, and should not be.
Yes.
And with hindrance, it just keeps you from being where you should be. And with that, we get to we have this privilege that we are able to approach God
Mm-hmm.
so more easily compared to
Yeah.
before.
Oh yeah.
Imagine this though. Like as you're speaking, I kind of like had it reminded me of Adam and Eve. That was the picture that I had in mind. Because like if you think about it, Adam and Eve, they were free to do anything,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
except do one thing,
One thing, yeah.
not touch the tree, the apple, or I
Yeah.
don't know what fruit
Yeah.
it was, honestly, right? And like if you think about it, because you're talking about presence of God, right?
Yeah.
Because of the preaching, and like it's crazy because God's been wanting, like he always desired to be with his people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like you know, be like present with his people.
Yep.
But because of, you know, that wanting to be, you know, I don't know what it was, being deceived by the friggin' serpent, right? Like, sorry, I had to do the move. The serpent, that's when they lost their true freedom.
Mm.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know, like, anyways, speak on it.
No, it's actually ironic because they broke restriction, which in the end they just received hindrance from
Exactly.
approaching
Yeah.
God, like to approaching God, and it's like, because back then, obviously, like before Jesus, like they had to do certain things like kill the lamb,
Yeah.
and, like
Yes,
the
just
to
to
blood.
meet
gain
him.
that
Yeah.
back,
To
right?
gain that
It's too much work.
to gain that- yeah, because like as you said earlier, the sin, being a
Mm.
slave to sin, that's the hindrance
Yeah.
from us approaching God. And
Yeah.
now, because Jesus died on the cross, and like we get to receive that salvation and that like
Mm.
ability to approach God through Him.
Right.
And
Yes.
like for me, that's what freedom is. Because even in the Bible it says, "Whom the Son sets free."
Is
It's
free,
free
indeed.
indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So restrictions, they're there. Once you break them, hindrance. That's what
Yeah.
I got from that.
Yeah. Cause like, talking about like free will, right? Like, we do have free will.
We do.
Cause it, like, you can see that from the get go, from the beginning. Like, Eve had free will to do what she wanted, and she did. She literally took that opportunity to
She was like,
exercise her free will. You know what I
But-
mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like people think, I don't know. I guess people have a really construed. Is that a word? Construed, misconstrued,
I have no idea what
Anyways, like a really.
We get you though.
we get you.
I don't know if I'm saying it right, but we have like a very messed up way of looking at freedom,
Yeah.
right? And like I guess with Eve, I don't know by what the serpent was telling her, she was saying, "Oh, you'll gain more knowledge by eating this. You'll become like God." Right?
Yeah.
And so like she thought that was, you know, her freedom, and because of that, like it led to, you know, being enslaved to sin.
Yeah.
And that's something that, you know, we're all struggling with, sin, right? And so really, like, what are we slaves to?
Yeah.
Right? If we're not, if our master, if our Lord is not Jesus Christ himself, then something else is Lord over your life.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like that's not freedom. That's not true freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because something else is above you that is not Christ. Because
Yeah.
the true freedom was meant to be Christ ruling over us, right?
Yeah.
So,
And with at the Venna, what is freedom to you according to the Bible?
The way I see freedom is living in the life that God has given you. So, like what you guys said, actually, you've touched all my points.
He's like,
You're
we're done here.
welcome.
We're done. We're
Yeah.
done. Cut.
So the disobedience led to sin and the bondage to sin,
yes.
and the consequence to sin is death.
Yeah.
So freedom is living away from that sin. So God wants you to live, like live eternally to be with Him.
I like
And
that.
once you're away from that, then you don't really have that freedom, because
Right.
anything that's away from God means death.
Yep.
So freedom is actually living in the life that God has given you.
That's good.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that because like there's a concise way of kind of looking at what true freedom is now. True freedom leads to life.
Yeah.
meanwhile, like, you know, the freedom that's perceived leads actually to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the best way that you could like think about freedom. Like even for the young people that are, you know, I guess talking about freedom in their head right now, like, is your freedom leading to life or is it
Or
leaving?
death.
Yeah.
And not just like physical life. We're talking about spiritual death.
Yeah, exactly.
Emotional death, mental death.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a wow. Good
I
job,
know, that
guys.
was
High
good.
five.
Wow.
High
She's such a
five.
mom. High five. Good job. Yeah, yeah.
We did it because this was a very hard topic.
It was.
Which I was
difficult.
really excited for because it's something that like you never really ponder about, like what's freedom.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So
But I love that we end on that note.
Yeah.
The idea of restrictions being good for you and the idea of freedom really is found
Yeah.
in Christ.
yeah, for a moment I was
That's it.
scared. I was like, where are we? Like, how we gonna conclude this?
No.
Like,
And
how,
isn't,
how are we gonna be, you know, insightful with this?
isn't it crazy? We started off by saying that freedom for the world now is all about my life, my
Mm.
way. But now we're ending it with freedom is actually the life,
yeah,
the way, the truth,
Wow,
the
truth in
cross.
the life.
So if today, honestly, if you're listening, this is for me too, and I guess for everybody here. If you're looking for a sense of freedom right now, you feel restricted, I don't know, by your thoughts, your family, your age, your financial status. I don't know what it is you're feeling restricted from. Look at the cross.
yeah,
That's it. That's honestly the best advice, I guess. So it's not even advice, it's really just fact. Look at the cross. Look at the freedom that was, first of all, bought for you for free, that you did not have to work for at all. That freedom, look at that freedom and see the way that your own locks are going to be unlocked. Your own leashes are going to be removed, like you said a while ago. Your own chains breaking. Just look at the cross. Look at Jesus. Start there and see the whole world become like literally free
yeah.
and lifeful.
And with that, we're gonna sing, "You are the way, the truth, and the life. Live by faith and not by sight for you." Come on, DJ.
I'm shy.
You guys are so bad.
Any final thoughts, anybody? This has been really good. Good conversations. Final thoughts.
You are the
Oh no.
Final thoughts, Santa Venna?
It's just. Oh no.
She actually has last thoughts. We usually just say that to end it, but like she actually has last thoughts, guys.
And we'd love to.
The difference actually between free will and freedom.
Yeah.
So free will is your choice, and freedom is life. So you can only get to the real freedom when you have the right choices.
Yes,
And
for sure.
we suggest that choose life, choose Christ.
You,
Yes.
I
Choose
love that
life,
too.
choose Christ.
I
Choose
love
life.
that.
That's a
And
slogan.
Like
Choose
to add
Christ.
on to that, free will, your choice. Freedom was his choice.
Wow.
He chose to die for you. I love that.
And with that, you are
That's
the
the
way.
the truth. That's the best way to end it. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much to our guest for joining us today.
Yes.
Guest,
Thank you.
half guest, half host, who will soon replace
Hey,
maternity leave. I don't know.
I'll be back.
We don't
I
know.
shall be back. But
yeah.
that will happen soon. So don't worry. You'll
Yes.
still be here.
There's
Why don't you just
EJ.
end us in announcements then?
Oh yes, announcements. Do we have
Wait.
Metanoia
This
Live?
month, right?
We do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
we
pretty
missed
sure.
we missed last month. So
Yeah.
Where's
Hosted
that
by
announcement
Adre and
Actually, yeah.
Kate. Ate Kate. Sorry.
Yeah, that's exciting.
all right,
Metanoia
Metanoia
Live.
Live prayer meeting as usual. Please come if you're available. Be there.
Yes.
Friday, 7:30 p.m. Connect group. We're actually in. Some people are in week 3 or week 4.
Around
Our-
that.
our
Yeah.
Yeah,
says
around
two.
that time. Week.
Is it?
3, 4.
We're in our fourth.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't listen.
So yeah, and we have 36 days till Christmas.
Legitimately. I'm excited. Oh,
Yeah.
are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said to do gender reveal, but we
Well,
already
we
did
already
gender
did
reveal.
that.
All
Yeah,
right,
No,
goodbye.
We're good. Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
and 30
Merry Christmas.
Thank you for listening,
You are the
everybody.
way that
You are the way.